Hi, hello, I'm Randi Fine. I'm a narcissistic abuse expert and coach worldwide, the author of 3 books, and a podcast host. But today, I'm going to be talking to you about navigating the dating scene in today's world after alienation from your children. In coping with life after being an alienated parent, after the unfair, unjust, and the cruel treatment you've been subjected to, it's important for you to know that your feelings, whatever they are valid and normal. You may now feel ready to redefine yourself and move on with your life. If you have always defined yourself as your child's or your children's nurturing parent, it may be time to release the shame and guilt you felt with acceptance and the knowledge that you have done your absolute best. It's important now to shift your focus away from the negative aspects of your situation and instead redirect your thoughts towards the positive things in life, and there are many. This doesn't mean that you have to ignore your feelings of hurt. It's more about training your mind to appreciate what you have instead of constantly focusing on what you don't. It's also important to recognize that you should not solely define your existence through your child or children. While you will always be their parent, it's essential to maintain your own sense of self separate from your child's being. Yes, you brought them into the world, but they must learn to navigate their life on their own at this time, just as you have. Every human being comes into this world with their own trajectory, their own set of lessons and challenges to face, their own set of lessons and challenges to negotiate and work through. Unfortunately, you cannot do this for your children or for anyone else. So maybe you have decided to date again, perhaps in hopes of finding a healthy partner to share your life with. But now you're wondering how to do that. Trust is a big issue for you. You trusted and put your faith in someone who betrayed you in the worst possible ways. Someone who is now intent on destroying your life. Now it's time to take a leap of faith and try to find the happiness and peace you deserve. So, let's talk about the rules for dating in 2024. After all you've been through, caution is imperative. Understand that the world of dating has likely changed since you were last in it. The world is highly predatory. People lie and misrepresent themselves. Dating sites are filled with undateable people, but they are a great way to meet people and learn how to vet them, to distinguish authenticity from disingenuousness. But you have to use great discretion, trust your intuition, and always err on the side of caution. This may take some practice and some time to learn. Make sure first that you are emotionally prepared to date before you take the plunge. It's normal to desire company and a loving relationship. But it's very important that you get over your ex-partner and work through the trauma that presented to you in your life first. Make sure you give yourself enough time to mourn the demise of your marriage and come to terms with what went wrong. This self-awareness can direct you towards happier relationships in the future and prevent you from making the same mistakes you have in the past. It's normal to have the urge to jump into a new relationship when you're feeling lonely, dealing with the end of a previous relationship, or getting encouragement from friends and or family to explore the possibility of finding love again. In general, the best time to start dating is when you feel confident and happy with yourself, and when you're not seeking validation from others. It's okay if it takes a while to get to that point. Love should not be rushed. It's important to remember that there's nothing wrong with taking time for yourself and building a relationship with yourself before thinking about allowing someone else into your life. In fact, research suggests that our relationship with ourselves forms the basis for all other interactions, and that self-love could be the key to a healthy, satisfying relationship with a partner. To have a healthy mindset before starting to date, these are some of the key points. It's okay to feel sad about the time lost and the challenges you experienced in caring for your child. Be gentle with yourself. Allow the process of grieving for yourself and your child. Have love and compassion for your child and express it in whatever way feels right for you. You must establish a healthy level of self-worth and self-esteem before you start dating. Having a sense of self-worth means that you value yourself. And having a sense of self-value means that you are worthy. If you've never developed those traits before, or have not achieved a functional level of them, now is the time to do it. Get professional help. Narcissistic abuse involves deep subconscious programming. This programming does not dissipate once you leave the relationship or with time. Without professional help, your subconscious mind will remain programmed, and it will influence everything you do for the rest of your life. You must do the healing work first. There's no way around it. Ask yourself why. Once you saw the reality of what was happening, you continued to put up with it. Now, grasping this concept does not mean admitting to or accepting that you wanted it, caused it, or are even responsible for it. But you must identify the mechanisms in your mind and your abuser's mind that kept you stuck. Work through all your issues first so you will not be drawn to someone like that again. Don't rely on friends and family to give you advice. They mean well, but they can give you the wrong advice. Rely on the advice and guidance of specialists and others who have walked in your shoes and are now resolved. Deal with your feelings of guilt. Remind yourself that nothing you can do or could have done can change the outcome, and that your parenting skills and love for your children are not in question. Do the work until, or at least, you are sufficiently resolved, meaning that you no longer need excessive external validation. You don't feel an obsessive need to trash talk your ex to anyone. And you have come to a level of acceptance about alienation, where you are able to move forward in your life. Learn healthy boundary setting. Setting boundaries requires the statement of limits. And for the chronic boundary crossers in your life, a statement of consequences. Boundary preferences, remember, are different for each of us, so there is no one way to set boundaries. Recognize triggers from old patterns. Call on healthy tools and voice of reason to avoid automatically reacting to them. Don't give up on happily ever after. It is attainable at any age. Granted, you thought you had found it and wound up being faced with the shock of your life. What happened in the past were life lessons, not life sentences. Learn from them and just do it differently next time. Find a healthy way to vent and express yourself that doesn't rely heavily on friends and family. Some of the ways you can do this are counseling, coaching, journaling or writing, doing arts, crafts, gardening, exercise or yoga, meditation or prayer, religious groups, or Bible study. While you may or may not be open to meeting someone new, it's crucial to prioritize and nurture the relationship you have with yourself. Self-care and self-love are essential, regardless of your relationship status. Learn how to feel confident in yourself and all you have to offer someone before you begin the process of dating. Some ways to do this are: date yourself before you date others. Some great reasons to do this are: you'll get out of your comfort zone. Stop worrying about what other people will think or say about you. Do the things you want without needing to find someone to do it with you. Learn that you're worthy of great treatment. Appreciate and trust yourself. Learn about and be more in tune with yourself. Realize how amazing and positive your attributes are. Attract better quality people into your life. Another way to do this is flirt with yourself. Nurture and love yourself. Pamper yourself. Listen to yourself and respond to your needs. Learn to enjoy your own company. Nourish yourself with healthy foods. Create a daily routine or practice to start every day with. Take walks, be in nature. Hug trees if you want. A third way to do this: decide what you want in a partner and what your non-negotiables are. Don't compromise on the things that are most important to you. Number 4, overcome the message that, for whatever reason, you are undateable. This is not true. Go out with the energy that I am dateable. I am open for love, or open to love. I deserve to love and be loved. I am open to a wonderful partner. The right partner is on the way. The next one, take time to realize that you are reasonably safe now. Safety doesn't come all at once. It comes in layers. And some ways to recognize that you are reasonably safe is: appreciate the present, let go of your emotional attachment to the past. And try not to worry about the future. Focus on taking life a day at a time. Be mindful of your thoughts and your limiting beliefs. Stop saying hurtful things to yourself and using judgmental, guilt-producing expressions such as, I should have, I could have, why didn't I? Recognize old program thinking and replace them with positive thoughts. Be aware of behavior patterns that no longer serve you. Let go of and truly forgive yourself for any mistakes you believe you made. We are all fallible. It's part of the human experience we all share. Communicate your feelings freely and effectively. If something feels uncomfortable, speak up. Don't be reactive. Work through conflicts with others in a healthy way. Another way to do this is don't put your life on hold any longer. And under that, avoid analysis paralysis. If you feel stuck, start by making changes in your life, small ones, little bit at a time. Identify what you want. Be willing to change your perspective. Create a basic, doable daily, weekly, or monthly schedule that you can be successful with, and then celebrate every small accomplishment. When it comes to dating, I talk to several people who have had the experience of dating after parental alienation. And everyone I spoke to advises the following: these two things. Be intentional about dating. Don't just fall into it without preconceived guidelines and strategy. And the other thing everyone says is dates should be impersonal, like an interview process. And I'm going to go further into this and explain this. But when meeting prospective partners, the question is, when should you open up about your divorce and alienation situation? So again, after speaking with several people who have been down this road, I have found that there's no exact consensus. One person, very experienced personally and professionally with divorce and alienation, used a 6-month guideline, explaining that at 3 months, you can say, I had a tough divorce, but I'm not really ready to share yet. Now, others have said that they opened up rather quickly in an effort to weed out undesirable prospects. So there's no definitive answer on this question. This is going to be up to you. But keep in mind, when someone experiences parental alienation, their new partner or spouse can also become a victim, even if the children aren't biologically related. Any accusations made by the vindictive ex against one person can automatically implicate the partner or spouse. Simply by claiming that the partner said or did outrageous things, the accuser can portray that person as evil. So remember that. When you're bringing somebody new into your life, this is the potential. Before entering a romantic relationship, it's important to understand what a healthy one looks like, especially if you've never had one or had one modeled for you. Despite the challenges that may arise when seeking the right person, the following guidelines can aid you in finding long-lasting love and establishing a rewarding, healthy relationship. Every relationship is unique, and people come together for many different reasons. There are some characteristics that most healthy relationships have in common. So here are some tried and true tips for choosing a partner, shared with me by alienated parents who have navigated this process. And this is so important because I am not an alienated parent. I have not navigated this process. I just work with people who do. So this is coming directly from people who have gone through this, and this is great advice. Choose wisely. Don't punish your partner with the sins of your ex. If you are insecure or still harboring bad feelings, do not date. You should be able to freely express your thoughts and feelings with the person without fear of threatening the relationship. You do not need to apologize for everything you do. I know this has become a habit, and it's a very hard habit to break, but your partner should encourage you to stop doing it. You don't need to compromise on or sacrifice your basic needs for anyone, but you and your partner should be able to agree on simple things. To prevent yourself from feeling alone and misunderstood, choose a mature partner who acts like a true adult. You don't need another child. The person must be secure with himself or herself, confident, not needy, and the person should have good communication skills. Choose someone with similar perspectives and expectations to your own. Don't take anyone at their word. It takes time to determine this for yourself. Don't look for somebody to financially rescue you. That's a trap. Keep your finances separately. Share expenses equally. If the person is fundamentally good for you, they've passed all the other tests, don't nitpick. Look past faults that you can live with, and don't sweat the small stuff. Nobody's perfect. Give each other space. Have independent lives. Don't rely completely on each other. Choose someone who respects the nature of your relationship with your children and your ex. The person should always remember that you are a mother or a father, that aspect of your life is not dead, and neither is your child or children. Choose someone who is supportive, non-judgmental, and doesn't interfere with your parental alienation issues. I want you to really hear me. Don't form relationships with fixers, those who think they know how to navigate your family challenges better than you do. This can be a serious problem. Be sure your partner understands that your alienated child or children are not bad kids, that they are also victims of alienation and of the alienator. Choose someone who is willing and open to your child or children returning to your home. This is always a possibility. Your partner should allow you to talk about your child whenever you wish to. Do not choose someone who will resent your children's intrusion into your romantic relationship. This can happen, and it's happened to some of the people I've worked with. Choose someone who is genuinely interested in knowing your children, or if they aren't around, wants to know about them. Somebody who asks to see photographs of your children, who encourages you to keep pictures of them around the house. Your new partner should be vulnerable, sensitive, empathetic, and compassionate of what you are going through. Those who victim shame or cast judgment on you or anyone else should be off limits. Sad days are going to come and go for you, and holidays may be particularly difficult for you. You are going to have your ups and downs. The person you're with should be there for you when you need some tender, loving care without feeling threatened or put off by that. And the last one is be intentional about dating. Don't just fall into it. Now, let's talk about the do's and don'ts of dating and relationships. These tips were also shared with me by those who have gone through it. So let's begin with the dating don'ts. Do not have sex until you are in a healthy, committed relationship with the person. Sex complicates things and clouds perspective. And in addition, I wanted to share with you something really important that you may not be aware of. Statistics from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have shown that adults over the age of 50 consistently represent about half of the population of those living with diagnosed HIV in the U.S. It may surprise you to know that the rates of sexually transmitted diseases in older adults is rising. Older people who are sexually active may be at risk for diseases such as syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, genital herpes, hepatitis B, genital warts, and trichomoniasis. So that was the first one, big one. Don't date someone who is married or who is in the middle of divorce. They may not get this divorce. Don't trust what the person says. Verify the marital status for yourself. Don't date someone who admits to infidelity ever. Don't have sex while you are legally married. Wait until your divorce. Don't blindly trust or give the benefit of the doubt to anyone. Be cautious. In every situation life presents to us, trust must be earned. That takes time. Look carefully before you leap. Don't lead with conversations about divorce or alienation. Listen more, talk less. Listen more, talk less. Don't overshare. No diarrhea of the mouth. Be independent. Don't rely on the other person to pay for you. Drive yourself to and from dates and keep those dates casual. Lunch dates, coffee, ice cream, walks, hikes, things like that. Don't make decisions out of fear or desperation. And don't ignore red flags. I know you've seen them. It's typical for us to ignore them. Trust your intuition. It is your most accurate truth teller. Practice doing this. Don't rush into anything. Insist on taking things slow. Predatory suitors try to rush things along quickly so you don't have enough time to think things through and fact check. Don't get swept off your feet. Predators can be very charming and charismatic when you first meet them. An engaging personality is not an indicator of your level of compatibility with that person, nor is it a predictor of the nature of your future relationship together. In most cases, it is the exact opposite. Resist the urge. Don't be overly compassionate and understanding. Predators often use tactics that soften your feelings and blind your judgment. Don't fall for it. Don't lead with stories about divorce or alienation. Get to know the person before sharing these difficult and highly vulnerable aspects of your life. If you're with somebody who is perhaps narcissistic, these things will be used against you down the line. Don't give up this information. And don't bond with people over your trauma. Don't bond to pain, to mutual pain. You can't heal someone else, and it's best to keep things light. So there is no need to fear dating if you know what red flags to look out for. Narcissistic predators are all motivated by the same end goal. And the tactics used to capture emotional hostages, relationships, I call them emotional hostages, are all very similar. Some may be covert in their approach, some overt. If your previous partner primarily exhibited overt behavior, don't assume you are safe with someone who exhibits a softer approach, and vice versa. This happens all the time. People are like, wow, my ex was so loud and obvious and mean and rude, and this person was so nice and quiet, so I thought I was safe. It can still be predatory. Okay, if you do decide you are ready to begin dating, there are 11 red flags that will clearly indicate a predatory person. All right, so number 1, narcissists. Now, when I say narcissist, I mean cluster B disorders, antisocials, anything that falls into that category. And I use the word narcissist because this is where my expertise lies. But they are highly charming, charismatic, captivating, seductive, and very exciting. That makes them engaging and likable. Don't let that fool you. That is not who they really are. Enjoy it, but don't let it influence you. Narcissists like to move things along quickly. They cannot keep up the ruse for very long. It's an act. It is not their true nature. So make it clear that you want to take things slow, and then no matter how much pressure that person puts on you, or how amazing the love bombing feels, stick to your guns. If they cannot capture you quickly, they are likely to move on, and that's a good thing. The third thing, narcissists will portray themselves as victims in every story or recollection they share. They do this for 2 reasons. They truly see themselves that way, and it garners compassion and sympathy from an intended target. Fourth one, narcissists usually bash previous partners and represent themselves as victims of infidelity or abuse. They often portray them as substance abusers, alcoholics, or as being mentally ill. They grandly exaggerate the story or completely invent a new one, so you can't believe what you're being told. Nice, normal people do not act this way. Do not move forward with somebody who does this. In the honeymoon stage, this is the beginning where it all feels really good, narcissists display fake personalities, though it is often hard to tell. They mirror the personality of whomever they intend to trap, which would be you. They have an uncanny number of things in common with you, claim to like the same things. And they have very similar opinions. Don't necessarily believe this. Everything takes time. They present themselves as your perfect match. Their soulmate, maybe. Be wary of anyone who seems to match you on all levels. Yes, it would seem that this is compatibility, but you really have to be on alert because this is a very typical tactic. Many narcissists or predatory people will say they love you before they even have a chance to get to know you, sometimes before even meeting you. Don't fall for it. Recognize this warning sign and run the other way as fast as you can. Block the person if you're texting. Narcissists know how to create intense chemistry between them and their targets. They will set scenarios where intimacy can easily occur. Don't go to their home or bring them to yours until you are certain exactly who you are dealing with. Don't cook dinner for them or have them cook dinner for you or introduce them to your family. Having sexual relationships with a narcissist will bond you to him or her and create a chemical addiction in your brain very quickly. Once this happens, you will be psychologically and emotionally hooked. And then it's very hard to get away. In the honeymoon stage, in the very beginning, narcissists test their targets to see how forgiving, understanding, selfless, and generous they are. They will usually do or say something hurtful or outrageous to see whether you will call them on it or let it go. Calling them on it demonstrates you have boundaries. Those with strong boundaries are useless to narcissists. Ignoring it, forgiving them, or showing compassion gives them the green light to move forward. They're very, very specific about this, intentional about this. They know they will be able to manipulate and control you if you hear something outrageous or insulting and you let it go. Narcissists interview potential targets. They want to know everything about the person, their hopes, disappointments, dreams, goals. They gather this intel for two reasons. They gather it to create a specific persona they will use to trap you, him or her, and to learn about your vulnerabilities. Later, they will use these vulnerabilities to customize emotional and psychological abuse. To avoid this, talk in generalities or keep redirecting the conversation. Do not pour your soul out to anyone before you know and can thoroughly trust the person. I can't stress this enough. Remember that trust takes time. Often, it could be several months. Don't be in a hurry. If you do not initially find the person appealing or are not attracted to him or her, and then you suddenly believe you cannot live without that person, understand you have been brainwashed. This can happen quickly. This is not a normal response. Narcissists have the uncanny ability to brainwash innocent victims very quickly, and they put a spell on them. Recognize what is happening to you and put an end to it. Be very aware of what is happening inside your head. Do it immediately. As time goes on, it's going to become harder and harder to break away. It does get very hard to break away. Number 11, much of what narcissists tell you are lies or fabrications. listen for discrepancies, and ask questions. Some things will not make sense. Don't try to make them make sense. Don't try to fill in the gaps with assumptions. Think like a detective. Okay, the following tips have been strongly suggested for anyone considering entering a committed romantic relationship after divorce and parental alienation. Do premarital counseling. See if the other person has done enough work for a mature relationship and clear boundaries. Be honest about your priorities, especially the things that may take time out of your relationship, such as work, building a business, caring for a sick parent, or traveling. Let that person know where your priorities lie or where your other commitments lie. Don't be passive and give up what's important for you from the beginning. This leaves it open for comments down the road such as, you didn't ask for this before, so now how can we establish this? Evaluate if the person has a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Growth mindsets are formulas for relationship longevity. Fixed mindsets are not. Everything should be figured out ahead of time. There should be no gray areas. That leaves things open for variables. You should discuss values, expectations, roles, ideas, and concepts about what a happy family life looks like for each of you. If the person you are dating has a child, be sure to discuss each of your relationship expectations with that child. You may want to create a one-on-one relationship with your new partner as a lover, not a parent, while the other person has parental responsibilities. This can cause you to feel jealous and neglected. Keep in mind that family obligations often change once you're married. Flexibility is the key. Don't be afraid to show love and commitment to your partner for fear that when you do, he or she will hurt you the way your previous partner did. As I said earlier, don't punish them for the sins of your past. So in addition, there's a site called hitched.co.uk, and they offer some other questions you should ask your partner before making a commitment, such as moving in together or marriage. So I've gone through the list and selected the ones that I feel pertain to this particular topic. You can get the complete list up on the screen. You'll see the website, which is hitch.co.uk, wedding planning, so forth and so on. The link is there. Okay, I have 17 that I picked out. There were a lot of them. Okay, some of the things to discuss. How do you handle disagreements? What will you do with your last name? How much alone time do you need? What are your non-negotiables? What is a deal breaker for you? What constitutes cheating? This is a really interesting one because people see this differently. Who is the most important person in the world to you? What's your love language? How do you deal with change or the unexpected? Do you do anything to make them feel unsafe? What are your finances really like? How will you split your finances? Do you prefer to save or spend? What does religion mean to you? Where do you want to live? How will you split the chores? And what does your retirement look like? It's important to keep in mind that in step families, alienation poses a significant threat. Children who are alienated do not care about the impact their behavior has on your new relationship, your well-being, or your presence. They may only seem capable of acting in a rejecting and difficult manner. This has the potential to strain the relationship between partners, new partners, Ensuring that your relationship remains resilient and whole is crucial. Remember to communicate openly about how to address the behavior of the alienated child or children, and how to provide mutual support if the child or children refuses to visit your home. In many situations, children who are struggling with a transition respond better when their parent and step-parent present a unified front. It can become very complicated if you are in a partnership with someone who is also experiencing parental alienation. Recognizing the different stages of acceptance and healing in each of you is crucial. Discuss everything ahead of time. In closing, it's important to give yourself some space to evaluate what is and what isn't bringing you happiness. Assess whether the people and the things in your life are truly benefiting you. It's okay to step back from those who are causing you stress and pressure. Remember that your well-being is a priority, and it's perfectly fine to concentrate on yourself. That is not selfish. That is healthy. Remind yourself that you are a valuable and deserving person. You deserve time and rest to recover unapologetically when you need it. And when someone asks what you want, don't be afraid to speak up and share your desires. It's so important for you to advocate for yourself with confidence. Knowing what you want and believing in it will help you make decisions, set boundaries, and pursue your dreams with trust and determination. So, thank you for attending this webinar. I do hope you found the information I shared valuable. Feel free to email me at randy@redefine.com, and all my information is up on the screen. You can send me any questions or comments that you have. And should you desire professional support, I am available to offer that to you as well. And you can go to my website, redefine.com. Consultations and sessions can be booked directly by going, there's a heading that says offerings, and then under offerings, it says expert services, and then you can choose a date, time, whatever package you would like. Again, I really thank you for listening, and I do hope that you found this valuable. I wish you all the best as you explore this new phase of your life. Bye-bye. Be well.